Good afternoon and evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Taylor, and I'm going to take a look at a bunch of charts that have been requested. I want to first start off the video. I like to start off by answering one of the questions that I feel will benefit a lot of people by taking a little bit more time on that. So the first question, well, not the first question, but the question that I want to address right here, this person is talking about First City Solar. The earnings are better than expected, yet it dropped 12% today. And so this person is not sure why this was the response. So the earnings are better than expected, yet the stock dropped. And this is a perfect example of, when price action trumps everything. So maybe the earnings are better than expected, but for some reason the market did not like the earnings. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if they 10x'd their last quarter's revenue. All that matters is, did the market like that? Okay, and right now. And that's why it's important to pay attention to price action. Okay, you don't have to only pay attention to price action, but to disregard it is irresponsible. So we have a good earnings, a quote unquote good earnings. I don't know. I'm just basing it off of what this person said for First City Solar. Yet the stock dropped. So you really want to be aware of the price action. First and foremost. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to analyze this stock really quick. We've got resistance up here at 49.20. That was already drawn before I did this video. So as you can see, we've got it was a big level over here. You can see a lot of bounces from this level, a lot of bounces, and then we broke through it on this candle right here. And then you can see we got rejected at it here. Here, you can see it tried to break over, but the candle closed below that level. A couple touches here, again over here, 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 and that's exactly where it got rejected right here today. So on the downside, we still kind of have some support. I mean, we're right at this support. Okay, I'm not going to really consider this a break just yet. It's not looking great. It's a pretty bearish candle right here. But if we break these lows on a closing basis, we're most likely going to come down here and tag this support down here at about $40.50. So we've got a bounce on right here in August, right here at the end of September as well. Let's go ahead and look at the weekly chart so that we can get a bigger idea of what's going on here. Yeah, so we're trading, and I'm going to delete these lines so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at. So we've got, when you're looking at this longer term time frame, this is the weekly chart going back to 2012 right here. So we're trading in a pretty tight range, well, not a pretty tight range, but in a range from about 40 to about 75. So you can see, you can just see it. We're getting rejected up here at about 74, many touches, okay? And then on the bottom side, here we dipped below it a little bit, here, and we're coming up to that level right there. So it has not broken that level quite yet, but as far as a longer term time frame, that's the level that I would want to see hold. I want to see 40 hold. If 40 breaks, most likely it's going to be heading much lower, and the next decent support I see is right around, let's call it 28, right around 28 and a little bit right here from those candles right there. So you can see So why is 28? So you can see it bounced from it several weeks right there, and then it got rejected right there. So a lot of touches right there, and then you can see again right here on the bottom side getting rejected at about 25. Here we bounced up from 25. So between 28 and 25 is really the main next support that I see below 40. So that's what you want to see hold. Alright, so I'm going to start from the beginning here, now that I've got that out of the way. Okay, CNNX. And most of these, unless I've seen it before, I'm going to be doing this in front of you. This is the first time I'm looking at CNNX. And the idea here is to have you go through, be able to hear me as I'm working through this. So not just come with an annotated chart already, but I'm going to be able to show you exactly what I'm looking at in real time. Okay, so this is the daily chart here. Biggest thing I'm seeing is we're right at some big resistance. Okay, so big resistance. You can see this sideways trading action right here, right around $18, okay? $18, $18 to $17. It gets thick in there. I'm just going to delete this just so you can see it better and not crowd the chart up with a bunch of lines. But you can see, and you can see this gray bar right here. See these gray bars over here? And the longest one right here is right where we're at. And so what does that mean? Actually, it's the second longest, second to this gray bar right there. And what are these? These are volume at price. And what does that mean? So that means, okay, so the volume bars down here are the volume per day. So right here we had this amount of volume traded today, okay? So the gray bars over here, the volume at price bars, are the volume amount of shares that have been traded at a certain price level, okay? Don't get too caught up with how exactly long they are. Just compare it to each other, okay? So right here we have the longest right here, and then we have the second longest right here. So when you have a lot of volume traded at a certain price, that means there's a lot of resistance, okay? And it's just another way to see where there are a lot of support and resistance levels. So down here, we've got a lot of support down here. And you can clearly see that just on the chart. You can see how many times we bounced. We dipped a little bit below it right there, false breakdown, but pretty much every time we bounced from right around here, and there's a lot of trading that went on in that range. Okay, so why is this resistance? Well, we've got a lot of rejections right here. Okay, you can see, just clearly see that it does not really like this $18 level right there. Okay, if it breaks over $18 on a closing basis, I would expect CNNX to head much higher, because with how many touches we've seen, a lot of touches, a lot of touches, okay? And then if it's finally able to break over that, that's going to be significant, and that's something that you want to pay attention to. Next main resistance, right around $21. As you can see, we got rejected at this peak right there. Okay, so that's it for CNNX. Next is CAS. Alright, so CAS, now again, like I always mention, a lot of these smaller cap stocks are, they're not as liquid, they don't have as much volume traded in them. So what does that mean? That means a lot of the patterns are not as good and not as reliable, so they're a little bit harder to analyze. And I personally, that's a reason that I don't trade a lot of them. I do trade small caps, but the pattern has to be perfect. I really want to see a lot of volume, You know, it kind of has to be really perfect, and this does not fit in that category. We are pretty much right at this support. Okay, you can see how we dipped below it a little bit. You can see that we bounced a little bit from this area right there. You know, other than that, you know, I'm not really seeing anything that I want to say about this, other than I'd probably want this 129 level to hold if I were bullish on this stock. Other than that, you know, we've got some resistance right around. You can see the highs of yesterday's candle get rejected at about 160, and you can see why, because this is a level that was support, 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 and then we finally broke through it right there. So 160 resistance, about 130 support. That's pretty much all I got for that one. CX. Oh, and I just want to point out something. So, you know, when I say these comments about this stock like this, you know, they'll say, oh, okay, well, what good is technical analysis then if you can't use it for a lot of these smaller cap stocks? Well, there are plenty of other trading instruments where technical analysis is very, very useful. I mean, you can find very reliable patterns. So, you know, I would just not trade this. Simple as that. All right. CX. CX right here. First thing I'm seeing is some resistance here right around $8. You can see that we almost hit that over here. We're almost at that level right here, and you can see that it got rejected over here. Right here it peeked its head above it just a little bit, and you can see that right here it was support. Many bounces from that level, and then we finally broke through, and then you can see this is how stocks work. They break down, they come back, they retest that level, they break down, they retest the level, and then they head lower. So that's just how stocks work. You can see that there's also some resistance, some pretty thick resistance. So if you were watching from before, you can see the gray bars, the volume at price bars, getting really long, and that's above us. So we've got a lot of resistance above us, and we're not just basing it off of these gray bars. Okay, first of all, those gray bars, volume at price, is important, but they're not just random. Okay, you can see that this is a lot of sideways trading action, and sideways trading action creates support or resistance, and since we are below this price level, it is resistance. Okay, next, ARTX. Okay, looks like I already covered this one. So main thing I'm seeing here is support around 260 or so, and then I see resistance right around $3. So you can see we get support at 260, rejected at 3, support at 260, rejected at 3, same thing over and over again. Okay, so once this breaks to either side, we should see a pretty nice move in the opposite direction, or I'm sorry, not in the opposite direction, but in the direction which it breaks. So if we get a close over $3 or a close below 260, then that should see a nice move. We also have an uptrend line right here. Pretty nice uptrend line, a lot of touches, and then we broke through it over here, came back and kind of retested it and broke through that. So could be to the downside if that 260 breaks. So more important are these support and resistance levels more important than this trend line, okay? But it'll weigh more heavily on this stock if we do break below 260. It would make kind of a better play just because we did break that uptrend line right there. But again, most important thing is this box that we have right here. So if it breaks over 3, we can pretty much disregard this uptrend line because this box is looks pretty significant to me. We're trading sideways for quite some time, about 2 months here. And when you get sideways trading action, a compressed sideways trading action, you can see big moves to the upside. Kind of like how we saw right here, a little bit sideways trading action, and you can see once we broke outside of that little range, you saw a pretty nice move to the upside, almost, what, about a 70% gain right there. So definitely important, and this is an even longer sideways trading action, so definitely one you want to keep your eye on for a break outside of that box. ASML. Alright, so let's see ASML. Now for me, personally, you know, and everyone has their own style and what they like and everything like that, but I don't really like stocks that trade like this. And what do I mean by trading like this? You see a lot of gaps, you know, gap up, gap down. It's somewhat, I don't want to call it erratic, because, you know, we do have a pretty well defined support right there, you know, rejected, 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 and then we finally broke over it. But as far as a day-to-day basis, you know, we've got a lot of gaps up, gap down, you know, so it's a little more difficult to trade. So I like, personally, stocks that are a little more fluid than this. But with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll do this one right here. So we've got pretty clear support around 91, and then again here at about 101, and then resistance, pretty heavy resistance up near, you know, let's call it 112, 114. You can see a lot of candles getting rejected near here, near here, near here, and then a couple of candles right there. So that's the level that you want to look for, you know, to break over, to head higher. On a short-term basis, most likely it's going to get rejected on the first go-around. So just be aware of that. Majority of the time, you know, they don't, after traveling this far, you know, you can see we've traveled from 90 all the way to 112. More than likely, we're going to see some kind of a consolidation, whether it's a come down and retest this and then break over it, or just a consolidation sideways right at it, kind of like we did over here, and then eventually deciding whether it wants to go over or break back down. So just be aware of those things. STON. Alright, so STON looks like I have gotten requested on this one in the past. So as you can see, we've got this downtrend line, downtrend, and we did get rejected near that level. As you can see, we didn't quite touch it, but you know, that's good enough for me. Main level of support is near, you know, $23 to $22. You can see two big bounces from that level. You can see many bounces from this level over here. So that's the level that you want to be aware of on STON. Let's take a look at ARI. So ARI, first thing that I'm seeing here, let's see if I can draw this. Yeah, we've got a little bit of an uptrend right here, and then some good old-fashioned horizontal support right around 1550, and then again some resistance right around 1670, $17 or so. So you can see that we got rejected here, here, here several times, here again. So main levels I'm seeing are 1550 and resistance right around $17. If we break over that, next resistance right around $18 up there. And you can see that there's a key level over here, over here, over here, and over here. So I'm just going to draw a little bit lower as well. Yeah, so high 17s, there's quite a bit of resistance if we break over this 17 level. So not my favorite chart. Personally wouldn't be trading this. I don't really see any reason to be long or short at the moment, but that's just me. All right, ELTP. Not really seeing anything that reliable on this one. We do have a lot of resistance from these candles over here. Got rejected right here in that 130, 130 to 140, a lot of resistance. Short term, we've got some pretty decent support around $1. Below that, some support around about 90 cents. And then below that, some support around 80 cents. You can see it. I'm not just drawing these random lines. I'm just following where price action has showed us is a key level. But again, I personally wouldn't trade this stock. It could go either way, and I would not be surprised. So I don't really like those odds. CAT and WM. All right, so CAT is one that I watch, and what we have here is we have this support around $79. You can see that it got rejected here, 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 and then we broke over it right here. So I'm gonna put that right there and just leave that there. So about 78.50 is where I'm going to leave that support. And next resistance above us, right around here at about $89. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Maybe a complex inverse head and shoulders. So here would be the left shoulder, here would be the head, here would be the right shoulder. Yeah, or maybe even a cup and handle pattern right there. So it's important when you're looking at these patterns to not get too technical about these patterns, because if you get too technical and you follow the the rules, the technical rules off of these inverse head and shoulders or the cup and handle patterns, you're going to get bogged down, and it's not an exact science, and you just want to look for the general idea. The general idea is, we've got a peak here that's this level, lower one, and then a lower one, so kind of a rounded bottom as well, and then that support at about 78.50. So I think if we end up coming down to 78.50, we should get a bounce. As far as short-term levels, that's where I would want to see hold. If it breaks below 78.50, I'm not really going to like it as a long, but if it does hold, I think we're going to come up here and test right around $89 for that resistance. Once we get up there, probably going to take a little bit of a pause before making its next decision. Alright, MACK, I believe I covered MACK last time as well. So yeah, we've got MACK here, we've got this downtrend line right here, rejected, 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 that we're at right now. We've also got this resistance because this was support, 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 and we're coming back up, getting rejected at it right there. So that $6 level is a key level. So $6 support, $6 resistance, $5 support. You can see many bounces from here, bounces over here, and you want to see this $6 level break if you are bullish on MACK. If that breaks, we could see a nice little breakout on MACK. So be aware of this chart because it looks pretty good. And it's a big if. Okay, it looks good if that $6 level is broken on a closing basis. So if we close over 6, definitely think that MACK can head higher. XXII. Alright, so XXII, nice look here. I'm not really sure when I had this drawn out, but a pretty decent looking pattern here. We broke over this downtrend line. You can see rejected, 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 okay, and then it's squeezed here. I drew this shorter term downtrend line, and you can see that we broke over both trend lines, and we have this trend line here, so a nice little triangle breakout pattern. So definitely think that XXII can head higher. This is a nice looking pattern here. Yeah, I like this chart. So you want to see about 78 level hold. If we break 78, I'm no longer going to like this for a long. But as long as we hold that, I definitely think that we can see a nice breakout. Another thing I just want to point out is you see how it was wider here, wider. And then you see how it narrows, narrows, and compresses and gets really tight. Well, that's when you want to look for a breakout or a breakdown. Because when you compress these price levels for quite some time, it's building up energy for that next move. Don't really know which way it's going to be. You can look at the indicators, either RSI or MACD for hints. If it's trading sideways, and you see an uptrend in the MACD or an uptrend in RSI, that's going to kind of give you a hint that maybe the move will be to the upside. Alright, so let's take a look at the next chart here, PLNT. So we're having some support right here at about 1950, and looks to me like a flag pattern right here. And when you're looking for flag patterns, there needs to be some kind of a trend, okay, because these are continuation patterns. So right here, we're in an uptrend right here since the lows in February right there. So look for a break over that line right there, over the previous week of highs, and then it should be good to go for higher. Main thing you want to see hold is that 1950. If 1950 breaks, I'm no longer going to like that for a long. All right, next I want to take a look at RAX. All right, so RAX, first thing I'm seeing is some resistance right there that we actually just cleared today. So a nice clearing of this resistance, and we did so on some pretty nice volume as well. So that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see these resistance breaks or support breaks, whatever it is, whether you're long or short. You want to see this resistance break coupled with volume. So we've got a really nice big bullish candle here. Barely any sellers here at the top. So a nice thick long candle. It's exactly what you want to see. Given the nature of how long this candle is and how we close just barely above this level, I kind of want to see one more close above this 25.40 level to really solidify this break. But if we do that, I definitely think we can head higher, and we'll probably come up here and retest right around 30.50 or so, because that's the next real resistance I'm seeing. You can see that got rejected here, here, and then you can see we got a lot of sideways trading action right there. So just be aware of that next resistance level. All right, next I want to look at ALGT. ALGT, not the best looking chart here. You can see we are in a downtrend. You don't need a downtrend line to see that we're in a downtrend. You can just see it for yourself. Lower highs, lower lows. The next thing I want to look at is resistance. So you can see this was kind of a big level here for the stock. You can see that it bounced from about 135 many times, here. You can see how many bounces it got, and then it finally broke through that. And you can see that once it breaks through that level, you saw a pretty decent move to the downside. Another hint that you could have looked for right here is you can see that we kind of made lower highs heading into that support level. So right here you can see lower highs. Here's a high, lower high right there. So it shouldn't be that big of a surprise that we broke that support. Those are some hints that you can look for. As far as support, right around where we're at, right around 120 to 125, there's quite a bit of support. I'm going to look at the weekly chart just so I can see a little bit further back. Yeah, so this is some pretty decent support that we're at. Obviously, and this is why it's important to look at multiple time frames, because when you look at the weekly chart or the daily chart, you think, okay, it's been in a downtrend for about a year and a half, or maybe about a year. But then if you look at the weekly chart, you can see that we're in an uptrend. We're definitely in an uptrend, and this could be just some consolidation, digesting these gains. When you look at in 2011 we were trading at $40. Okay, $40 in 2011. That was 5 years ago. I mean, this is a big. We went all the way up to 230. So that's what, like a 500% gain right there on this stock. So it shouldn't be. These stocks, they don't go straight up. Okay, so they gotta trade sideways, see some downside before digesting that move and potentially heading higher. But anyways. That 121 level, I'll go back to the daily chart because you can see it a little bit better. That 121 level is going to be that level that I want to see hold for ALGT. And then on the upside, if we end up bouncing, we've still got that resistance at 137 or so. So just be aware of everything on this chart. Alright, let's see if I can chart this CZO. I don't think that that is the one that you're asking about, so I'm not going to look at that one. I can't look at certain Canadian stocks, so just FYI. BX is the next one I'm going to look at. And BX, first thing that I'm seeing is we're obviously in a downtrend. I'm going to go with the weekly chart so we can get a better idea of where this downtrend should be. Okay, so here we are right at this downtrend line. So a lot of rejections here, 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 almost a retest there, came up here, retested it, and got rejected. Here we have some support right around $23, $24. You can see we got rejected here, here, and then we broke over it, so now that becomes support. And you can see that we bounced here several times. So what you want to see is compression of price right here, and then you want to see a break over this downtrend line. If that happens, you can see a pretty nice move to the upside. Then you want to look for this resistance right around here at about $29. You can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see that we got rejected here, here, and on the other side you can see that it was support, 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 support. You can see how many bounces we got off of this level on both sides. So definitely a key level here for BX. Alright, next I want to cover PGNX. PGNX, let's look at the daily time frame. Not sure when I looked at this. Oh, I think I was using an arithmetic, chart when I did that one. So support is right here at about 550. You can see that we got rejected at it several times on the underside, and then now that we're over it, no surprise that we're getting a bounce from that level right there. So that's the level that you want to see hold. It's 550. Next, let's take a look at Disney. Alright, I'm just going to delete all these drawings so we can have a clear, clean look at this chart. Alright, so first main level I'm seeing is right around where we're at, right around $95. Okay, you can see many bounces from this level, and we're right at it right now. So you don't really want to, I'm just going to draw it a little bit lower. So you want to see that level hold, like $94 is a level you want to see hold. Not my favorite chart at the moment in either direction. I don't get a good read on it. At this current moment, you can see that we're kind of a little bit erratic. You can see that we're breaking the support right here, coming back down, breaking this resistance, okay, and then getting rejected back and forth. Okay, so this for me is kind of a no trade, but I'd really want to see that 94 level hold. If that doesn't hold, we've got some support down around $89. You can see it bounced here, 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 and then the lows of all these candles right there. All right, TGI. Not seeing a whole lot on this chart, but I do see a pretty big resistance there around $40. You can see rejected many times over here as well. The bottoms of these candles right there, so a pretty big level right there. Closer resistance I'm seeing is right around $32, $33. You can see that it was support here, 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 and now that we're below it, it's going to be resistance. You can see that we got rejected at it several times. You can just see how many touches we've gotten on this $32, $33 level. You can see bounce here, broke through it, many touches, and then a rejection, came back, rejected, 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 and then we finally broke over it, and this was a key level again on the support side. Okay, so it's going to be a key level again now that we're below it. So not a great price action right here. Some support I'm seeing is right where we're at. Right around $29. So short-term basis, you want to see that hold. If that breaks, we could see this support level down here. You can see how many times we touched there at about $23.50. All right, let's check out Alcoa. You can see Alcoa is one that I look at here. We've got an uptrend line from January, a lot of touches over here, a few touches over here, and then we broke outside of this tight range right here that we were trading back and forth on. So about $10 support as well as that uptrend line should get a bounce right there. I really want to see that uptrend line and the support line hold. On the top side, if we do end up bouncing, we've got resistance at about 1130. You can see rejected here and then rejected here as well. Let's take a look at MGT. So biggest thing I'm seeing right here is resistance at about 450, support at about 226. You can see how many rejections we've gotten at this 450 level and how many bounces we've gotten off of this 225 level right there. Another thing that I want to point out, just since we're here, is how key these tight compression range breaks are. You can see we traded sideways for, what is this, about 9-10 months right here, and then we broke outside of it, and you can see how big of a move. I mean, this is a 10x right here, a 10 bagger from 40 all the way to $4.50. So big move out when it broke outside of that, outside of this tight box right there. You can see that this is one of my favorite setups. This is what made Nicholas Darvis rich. If you haven't read his book, read the book, and you get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Let's see. All right, I'm going to do a few more here, and then I'm going to call it for the day. Next, I want to look at CGC. So it's a pretty nice setup right here. It's kind of over and done with, well, not over and done with, but it already happened. You can see right there. So it's very similar to what we've been talking about, a lot this time. You can see trading kind of sideways, and then we had this downtrend line, this uptrend line. So this is a triangle right here. Once we broke outside of that triangle, you can see that we got a little bit of a volume pop right here, and that was your signal to go long right here as we broke over the downtrend line, and we saw a little pop in volume right there. saw some nice upside. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I'm really seeing on this stock right there. You've got resistance. We're above that resistance right there. You know, a lot of volume coming into it. You can see that, you know, it comes down just as hard as it goes up. So, you know, depending on your time frame and if you're a trader or investor, you know, you're going to have to adjust your strategy. But just be aware of, you know, keep those stops, those trailing stops tight, and you should enjoy some nice gains. Now let's look at TGD. TGD, main thing I'm seeing is quite a bit of resistance right where we're at, around 60 cents. You can see a lot of sideways trading in this area, and this is that gray line right here, the volume at price. So quite a bit of resistance in that area, so no surprise that we're seeing some consolidation here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of downside in the short term. But if we break over that, could be pretty bullish. I want to see a break over this level, over 70. If we break over 70, then we can head a lot higher. Short-term basis, though, a lot of resistance between this 60 and 70 mark right there. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to do for today. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to do this video. Check in next time. I'll be doing these on a regular basis. See you next time.